So, very nice. Some more automation in right there, and you can see, like, in the meanwhile, we've got, like, more conveyor parts in here than we have even used on the setup. So that is indeed very, very nice right here. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Company in the free play mode with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to Spacefish Limited here at this very beautiful beach with our newly set up automation. Now, in the last episode, we actually set up this absolute Tetris madness, and it did take me absolute ages, to be honest, given that the building was just kind of a tiny bit too small for what I really had in mind with it. But at the same time, we did actually end up getting it done, which I am pretty happy about, because this is hopefully going to pave the way for actually having a ton of conveyor parts in here, which, by the way, I don't think we've actually fixed that shelf yet in terms of how many conveyor parts we can have in here. So that's the first thing we are going to do this episode. But I'm really looking forward to this. Now hopefully we're going to have a ton of conveyor parts in our back hand through this automation that we can then kind of subsequently use to push into all the automation we're going to do. Because if we look across here real quick, I think we've still got a ton of things to do. For one, we've got these cases right here that we can totally automate, so that would be a first part in this production. We can also automate these cases right here, and then we've of course got our bot production right here and the drone production up there, where we can kind of work on all the metal parts, like the rods, like the screws, like the gears. So a lot of things to take care of still in terms of automation, I think, and having all these parts in the back hand right here is hopefully going to turn out to be very helpful for us indeed. And you can see it's kind of chugging along nicely. We've already got 30 conveyor parts in here, and the tendency is very much increasing at a rapid pace indeed. So that being very nice overall, very much looking forward to actually being able to grab all those conveyor parts. But before we move on to that, we have also finished our last research project in the last episode, kind of alongside of me doing all this other stuff. I'm not quite sure what we actually took care of, but I'm also pretty sure that we actually wanted to do the low-risk camera next, because I'm kind of remembering that I had already started it but then stopped it in favor of something else. So we're going to do that now, and maybe the FM radio link after. I don't really have anything else in the back of my mind that would really make sense to still be researching at the moment. You know, maybe like a battery matrix or something, you know, next level of battery, which is kind of interesting. How do these get made? It's actually also not all too hard, so that's kind of an interesting option too. I don't know. We'll start out with a camera for now, and then we'll kind of see where to move on from there. So let's get that research going. That is going to get people busy again, and we've got a ton of research points still. So, I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't think I really ever need much more of an upgrade to this whole thing than I have going now. So, pretty happy with how things are going right there. The one thing, though, that I still have to say is I've got still a ton of things in my own inventory to research, so we're going to get the toon back to here so you can do some research work and, you know, pump up that research data some more for us and, you know, free up some inventory slots, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, we've got like some backlog right here still that we need to push into somewhere, and I'm pretty sure we've got like some other shelves somewhere that have some random materials stored we don't really need anymore. So, you know, certainly something to take care of still right there. Now, in terms of these two productions, right, we had left all these tables up here just in case we were kind of going to need them for the future, but honestly at this point I don't really think I do need them anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to tear all these tables and shelves and everything down up here. We're going to get rid of that logistics zone. We're going to expand these here upwards, because, well, I'm pretty sure that for both of these products we're kind of approaching a point very soon where we're going to have to redesign them, where we probably will need some better components for them, so that will probably inherently require a bit more space. And also, of course, I was planning to actually get these cases here automated, so that also kind of being a point that we need to take care of. Alternative maybe also being that we may keep a small logistics zone like up here-ish, and just construct like one kind of case and split it across both assembly lines. You know, we're still using simple cases out here for the key I think it was 600C, right? Yeah. So may kind of require a redesign of the products, but I'm kind of thinking that potentially through automation we could reach production frequencies at which we would not even really need to separate case machine. So kind of something to consider right there as well. For the time being, I'm going to go through here and we're going to go and tear all these things down. Maybe just going to keep that one courier pallet just in case we're actually going to do that thing with a case machine. And then we're going to go and look further into this. So that's all taken down now. And we can maybe just quickly place a case machine, and you know, moving kind of machinery in between logistics zones is usually not a big issue, so as opposed to shelves, so that should be fine. I'm not sure why I didn't tear these here down. So I'm going to put down a case machine for the time being, just to kind of see what the production frequencies of such a thing would be. It does make simple cases too, so you know, in case we need it, we could very much make two, but a plastic case then here would make me 5. I would be making 5 every day. Okay, and now we are kind of making 1 every 0.6. Okay, so it's like 2 every 0.6 days, which basically means we've got like, what is it, like 3.7 or something, I guess, that we make in a day? Is that about right? I think it probably is, more or less right. It's definitely less than 4, so we would have a bit of overhead here, but honestly not really quite the amount of overhead I would have imagined us to have for that kind of level or amount of cases. So maybe it just makes sense, honestly, to kind of keep it split like that. I'm kind of wondering right here, okay, yeah, I mean, this just really requires plastic, so we don't really have any pre-stages to that, whereas here we do, of course, have this basic workbench where people are making plastic parts. We can upgrade that still to improve the frequency, and we probably will, just given that I think this thing will probably need a good bunch of input. But yeah, we will do this in a separated manner. So let's go to the zones. Let's go and... where is erase zones? Right here. So we will... this is kind of a 2-stage zone here. So we'll erase that zone. Of course, you can see kind of, you know, this is still in the old zone, so we will have to move it out in a minute. We will extend this zone up here. And we will extend this one like that for the time being. Now the question will, of course, sort of be if we maybe grab a bunch of this zone for that zone too, because I feel this one's a bit bigger at the moment, but we'll see about that as we go. It's not like I'm going to occupy all that space instantly right now anyways, I don't think. So what we will go do then, oh, this seems actually to have moved over to the new logistics zone, which is very interesting. I mean, I like that. That's easy enough for us. We're going to get rid of that courier pallet though, and we're going to move things about a bit right here. So this thing's going to go and move all the way to the corner right here, and so will the shelf. And this is actually kind of nicely and perfectly set up for me right now. I don't think I'll have to do anything else except actually change a bit of the logistics zone up here, as I had already kind of imagined. Can I just do this? I think so, right? Yes. Okay, so that's kind of nice. So that's kind of just because we need to have a bend in the conveyor belt, if that makes sense. We're going to go and grab the conveyor parts we made so far, and you can see it's very nice and handy now because we don't need to keep hiring and firing people. We can just grab all the things whenever we want to, and we'll always have a nice backlog of it. And, you know, while we're going to push a bunch of money in terms of mats into this in the first place, you know, whenever we've got all these stacks filled, which is probably going to happen sooner rather than later, we're going to be kind of good forever and not ever going to have to worry about that again. So I very much like that, and I think that's the right approach, especially given that we've got 2.1 million bucks at the moment that we don't really use for anything anyway. So conveyor belts, though, we will go and we will grab the automatic retrieval segment that will push, of course, materials onto our conveyor belt. As usual, we'll have a conveyor belt go right into this machine right here, and then we will have another one actually pulling the mats from here into a small shelving rack, which will sit like right here, and that's basically already it. So a very quick and simple setup that also leaves us with a lot of extra space now, hopefully, especially since these workbenches aren't going to go. So that should hopefully allow for some nice and well sorted expansion in the future when we actually go for a new product. So what we will have right here, and I need to actually max the space usage on this just to make sure that we have got enough materials all the time. We're going to grab 20 plastic, we're going to grab 15 plastic parts, so that's going to be the order in which we do it. So 20 plastic, and then we've got the plastic parts, which is going to be 15, and it's going to restart right there. And that should already be it. It's kind of simple as that, really. Very, very nice and easy. The only thing being, once more, that we've kind of got this weird thing going where, oh. No, I know. I know what the issue is right here. Why it doesn't show me that. I think I've kind of placed this machine the wrong way around, haven't I? This is the in. So, this would be the way for us to place it, which is, kind of going to mean that we're going to have to redo this thing real quick, because... well, that's going to, unfortunately, actually grab a bit of space from us, which I really don't like. Maybe we should just place it the other way around, to be honest, because I feel the other layout was kind of saving us a bit of space, because we were kind of able to have the conveyor belts, like, basically next to the wall, which is kind of nice. So let me go and tear this down again here for a minute, because we will, of course, have to change the direction of the conveyor belts here too now. And we will go and change that about a bit. So this machine kind of then moving a bit further to over here, like right here, which means that we've got 2 conveyor belts, a storage segment, and the shelving rack. Still kind of a tiny bit of space wasted, but I hope not quite as much, as we will then have this here. I do not actually like that too much. Maybe that is not the right way to approach it, to be honest. Because the thing is, right, that this logistics, and well, this actual worker right here would be kind of a bit slower. No, I mean, that would kind of work. I guess we can approach it like that, right? Do we have... no, we've only got 2 slots left. No, I think let's keep it. Let's keep it the way we had it before. That is unfortunately, you know, a bit of waste of time now, but sometimes that just is what it is. I'd just rather really experiment to see what the best kind of way of doing things is for me, and in this case, I feel that the best way of doing things is going to be this one. So we will just move this thing one up. We'll kind of waste this space here a little bit. We've got our retrieval segment, and then we're just kind of going to rebuild that setup that we had going just a minute ago. So, well, a few squares unfortunately wasted in terms of space there, and while doing that layout, but I don't think the other one is really much better, and it felt like it could even potentially be a bit worse in terms of its performance. So we're going to do this, and we're going to go and have a storage segment right here again. We're going to have a small shelving rack right there again, and that is now the proper way around. And I've got the rule right here, so I mean, that's a start. I still don't have this registering that will be stored, so that kind of being a bit of an unfortunate annoyance. It did save this, which is great. But we will kind of have to wait to be producing our first few plastic cases in order to actually deliver them to down here. Now, we've got these tables down here, of course, so unfortunately we'll have to let these works go, as we have already done with some of these other things. We're going to get rid of the tables, which is of course going to yield us a good bunch of space, and we're going to grab the cases into our inventory for now. Maybe we can move them over here in a minute, or actually we can probably just move them into here, and that will actually give us the rule of kind of assigning that logistics connection. That would be very much a dream right there. We can use some more plastic and plastic parts in there, which is actually kind of nice, especially since the retrieval segment will be pulling some of these things. I can probably move most of these things right on over, and then with that shelf being emptied out as well, we can get rid of it too. And well, that's kind of the new setup for our calculators, and we'll basically be doing the same thing over here for the Key to 600C in just a minute, except for the fact that we don't really need this table set up right here just yet. We really just need some plastic parts, but I think I'll already kind of plan this table in, because in the long run, of course, we're going to move to more sophisticated cases out here too. Now, with that said, let's get time playing here for a minute for one to kind of empty this thing here, of course, a bit, and also in order to get some cases going that we can then assign over as well. So this kind of being a nice place for me to dump some of that stuff from my inventory too. Very much like that, and well, I think whenever, yes, please don't be fast enough, employee. I think he was fast enough, wasn't he? Okay, well anyway, so we've got a few things in our inventory. That's going to be totally fine. We have got the, oh yeah, right, we placed the plastic cases up there, which is nice. We just now need the logistics connection, which we can still not make. How was this usually kind of working? How did I jinx, not jinx, but how did I like kind of juke the other thing into doing it for me? Do you all remember? Because I don't. I know I had the same issue like right here or something. I don't quite know how I made it work in the end, so that is a bit of an annoyance. I mean, I think, did I do this? Did I do that and then that? No. How do I do that? Ah, okay. Okay, so that's kind of the way how to do it. So, gonna assign the max space to this. That is assigned to be transported to over there, and then we should actually be fine. So, very nice. Some more automation in right there, and you can see, like, in the meanwhile, we've got, like, more conveyor parts in here than we have even used on the setup. So that is indeed very, very nice right here. So, over here, we're kind of going to do the same setup as I already kind of hinted away at, just that we're probably going to do it the other way around, which just means a more space-saving way, hopefully, this time. So, what we will be doing is we'll be setting up the small shelving rack right here, because that gives us space to put a table right there, just as we have it right here in the future when we actually upgrade the cases that we're going to be working with. Then, actually, I could probably just move this thing over, couldn't I? What else do I have? What do I have stored in this small shelving rack? There's like random materials in there that I don't even need. That's kind of weird. Maybe I reuse that from something else and never remember to clear it out. It's kind of... okay. I mean, let's try and pull this from here and actually put it into some other location, like here. And do we have like batteries or something going on anywhere? This is full. I've got batteries down here too. Gonna just throw that in there. That's a bit weird, honestly. I mean, we're going to have to clear it out somehow, because otherwise we can't really get rid of the table. But, why that is that way, do not ask me. I have really not worked on that assembly line for quite the while, it feels. So that must have been in that state for absolute ages. But the good thing is I can apparently find, like, some random places to squeeze these things in everywhere. So... what we're going to do now, I think, we are going to kind of instantly just get rid of these guys here. So, sorry, thanks for your long services. I will have to move on to automate some things. We're going to go and get rid of these tables too. And we're going to, for now, grab this. No, I don't want to grab the shelving rack. There's like random things in there that I don't really want. So, what we're going to do instead is I'm going to have to clear up my inventory for a second. Really need to actually work on... clearing my inventory out a bit more, but this way we've got some plastic in there. This will be where we will have a similar table to this one, then we will do the same sort of setup once more. So, retrieval segment as usual goes right here. Then we will have a nice case machine which goes the right way around this time around, and we have got no space, which is a bit of an issue. That is honestly a good bit of an issue. So I do not like that, but I think I already have a solution in mind. The solution kind of being something like this, where we would kind of have a corner right here. Can I squeeze that machine in right there? I cannot really, but something like this should work. So, bit less efficient space use than I would really like here, but what we're going to do is of course some weird zigzag like that, and that way we can kind of squeeze the materials into there, and we will have like a table basically right next to this, right? Could I maybe do this a bit better? I think I could. Let me redo that. So, I mean, the thing is with a table, right, that we can kind of put it in here, basically. So, what the idea would be instead would be this, right? Just kind of moving everything out one further that way. Of course, wasting a tad bit more space, but I can at least place the table somewhere in the future where it makes a bit more sense in terms of actually access to the logistics employee, because he can be right next to the shelving rack. And that way we can hopefully in the future also make this work a bit more efficiently. So, now this thing of course comes out right here, and I'm thinking, no, I cannot actually place a shelf there, can I? This would, yeah, this is disallowed. This is not allowed because that's where logistics employees would actually access the machinery. So we'll have to pull this out one further, unfortunately, and we'll kind of block this machinery off for the time being because I don't think we really need the access anyways at the moment. And then we will have our fancy storage segment right here. And then we will, of course, make simple cases. Now, for the future, I mean, we've kind of got a lot of options, right? We could do metal cases, which honestly doesn't seem like the most crazy thing in the world either, especially given that, like, rods, you know, we've got some machinery to make those as well, should we so desire, which is probably an interesting idea. We also have got, of course, reinforced cases, which would be a bit more complicated, to be honest, because we would need 2 case machines in that setup. And well, Windows cases kind of being the same way, and I'm pretty sure there's more cases beyond this that we haven't even researched yet, so maybe that's also something to look into. But for the time being, this is going to be our nice and simple setup, so really not much of anything to worry about. The only thing we actually need to do is we need to go to the courier pallet, grab some plastic, and we need to kind of just max out. Oop, no, help. Stop. Okay, thank you. We kind of just need to max out the plastic space that we have in here now. One slot, unfortunately, has always been kind of blocked by the simple cases, which, yeah, is slightly annoying, but that is going to be what it is. And then we will have a lot of simple cases coming out right here, and for some reason, this connection is actually working this time around, so kind of confusing why that sometimes does work and sometimes it doesn't, but one way or another we will then route that into there, and that should be fine. Now we've got a bunch of simple cases in there still, but we should have the connection going, so in theory a logistics employee should just come by one day and be like, okay, I'm going to grab all those, and then this thing should be empty and we should be able to get it out of the way. The only thing I actually forgot here though is to actually set up a rule for grabbing the plastic, which honestly I probably could like just max grab the however much I can, but I'm just going to do 5 at a time just to actually match this, because honestly, why not? And here go some plastic boxes, which are going to go into our machine, and we're going to make some nice and easy simple cases right there for our production without having any workers for it. That's another 4 employees that we do not need anymore, which of course is some money, you know, it's going to be some profit in the very end, and it's also going to nicely with those frequency upgrades enable us to hopefully oomph up our final assembly a bit in the future. So pretty happy with that overall. Some more automation work done, and I think that is now, well, in counting the conveyor parts, that is now full. Yeah, 4 kind of assembly lines totally automated to the max. So very happy with that. I think that has to be it for this episode today, unfortunately, because we don't really have the time to take care of much more today, but very nice. I think we're very much moving the right way with this. Of course, profitability taking a bit of a hit right there, because I think this is mostly caused by all the parts that we're just chucking in to the conveyor parts production. But very nice right here, very much moving the right way. We can see, and we probably have some more things that we need to advance soon, like our cassette player, like our Key 600C, which will need a redesign. So, as I said, I think this is kind of going to be the next challenge for us, actually doing a redesign for the cassette player and for the calculator, which is going to tie us up a bit more over here. But, you know, as you can see, we've got some space, we've got some automation, so hopefully that is all going to go very fine for us. And then once we've kind of taken on the 2 product redesigns, we're probably going to move on to our bot assembly, because down here we have got a whole lot of metal rods and metal sundries and everything else in between that we do actually need, that we can probably use some of our fancy new machinery for. So a lot of things on the list there, most definitely. For today though, it has got to end right here, unfortunately. So I hope you all enjoyed the episode. As always, if you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. That does help out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon right next to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. And with all that out of the way, as always, thanks a lot for watching everyone, and I hope I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.